Hello, my name is Amanda. Welcome to my channel. I'm glad you're here. I want to talk about core wounds. And core wounds are kind of those lifetime themes that come around in different flavors for us to be challenged by and feel big feelings about. And I know that a lot of people are experiencing kind of a resurfacing of core wounds in these last weeks or months in ways that are just really deep and maybe causing a lot of stuckness in a certain area. So I just wanted to dance around that topic because it's really dear to my heart. I have felt it myself a lot this fall. And the first thing I want to say about it is this is a feature, not a frailty. A feature and not a frailty. And so we usually feel pretty vulnerable when our core wounds come up. We usually know it's a core wound because it has some threads from childhood. It has some threads maybe from teenage and adulthood where things have kind of gone wrong in the same way, often related to other people or the way that we're relating to the world. And the reason that these are features and not frailties is because all of us are doing like a master's or a doctorate in a topic or two over the course of our life in Earth School. And we are here to crack the code or to become a master of one or more big topics. And a lot of people who are on a path of self-development, spiritual journey are finding that as they keep on going, their sensitivity to little aches and pains, whether it's physical or mental or emotional, is really exasperated. And that can be a really challenging part of the journey that we didn't expect. And that's because we're becoming so sensitive that we can start to notice where those little scars or those little wounds that haven't been healed around our lifetime topics, our core wounds, are needing a little bit more love, are needing a little bit more attention. So if that's you, this video is for you. And just want to go back over that sentence, a feature and not a frailty, because there's going to be no better person at the end of the day to show up in a space holding capacity, in a healing capacity, in a role model capacity, on your topic than you. So once you've really cracked the code or you've made significant progress in understanding and feeling and looking at that core wound from all different directions and kind of like cleaning and disinfecting the parts that need attention, you start to become a master of that thread, that type of core wound. You become a person who, without even having to explain yourself or write a big long book or article or whatever, your mastery energetically speaks for itself. And you naturally will start, or maybe already have, start to bring people, the universe will bring people your way that need hope, that have a similar core wound, but that they need hope that things will get better and that those wounds will heal over into beautiful scars. And your life as you continue to go over and look at that core wound in different perspectives, you're giving them hope just by existing, just by living your life and opening your heart with the history that you've had. And so that's where we're going. And I think we can all think of somebody who's really inspired us, somebody who we've met, who we know has been through a lot, who has been through a lot in a certain area, and yet somehow they've been able to regain their shine or maintain their shine in some way. And those people probably didn't have to say much to you. They just had to exude that grace and that mastery despite everything they'd gone through in order for you to have hope. So that's who you're becoming. That's who we're becoming. And that's why our core wounds are features and not frailties. The second piece around core wounds is the magical and mystical nature of high divinity, higher realms, angels, benevolent spirit guides, different representatives of God in the form of forces that we can't see, but we can sense and we can feel. And what they're doing around the kind of the disinfecting of the core wound, or they're showing it to us or mirroring it to us through different people or opportunities or events. They're trying to take it from us. They're trying to take away that contaminating nature that has kind of seeped into our field, do healing, and do that spiritual disinfecting and stitching up so that we can get on our way and become more masters of these core wounds. And sometimes it feels like those forces of God are either not present, or we are confusing the fact, we're thinking that they're so far away from us in the process of visiting our core wounds. And sometimes the pain that's caused by disinfecting these wounds is actually coming from these high divine forces. We in the West especially like to think of God and the aspects of God and the angels as these happy, light-filled, floating kind of energies that buzz around the universe. And that's only looking at a small part of how God works and God's angels and the spirit guides. And it's like a nurse. A nurse can be really pleasant and friendly and make you feel at ease, but the nurse is also going to come and disinfect your wound. And a lot of people yell at nurses, and we know that there are many sides to God and to healing. And sometimes when our core wound is really being examined, really being shown to us, it feels like God is far away and that we're alone with our core wound and we're alone with our memories, and that we're actually feeling extremely stuck. But that can be further from the case. You're just encountering an aspect of God's energy and God's forces, God's representatives maybe in the forms of angels and spirit guides that are doing some of the dirty work. And we're not seeing the loveliness of God in this action when everything's getting kind of stirred up and cleaned out. And I'm saying it like it's kind of dynamic, like everything's getting stirred up and cleaned out, but actually it can actually also feel like you're in a very stuck period of time, like nothing dynamic has really happened in your life on the outside, or you haven't received much insight or inspiration on the inside either. And that's another form of the way that God works with us, because before the period of stuckness, before that period of just kind of being with that core wound and trying to understand what to do with it, and after the period, you are two completely different people. Before and after, you are two completely different people. When you emerge from that period of time, you are not the same. And you have mastered many big and small things during that period of time, especially if it's been a long time that you've been really working with that core wound, seemingly stuck and seemingly like nothing's happened. When you emerge, you have qualities that are given to you that are kind of like downloaded to you in space, in place of what was there with that oozing wound. And so that's why we constantly need each other. We need reminders that during this stuck time, nothing is happening maybe visibly, and maybe not much seems to be moving energetically, like maybe you feel your stuck points in your chakras. But that actually when you come out, the evidence will be there that you are a completely different person with a completely different energy signature, with completely different qualities available that you just didn't have before and you couldn't have obtained otherwise. And so just kind of with that, this thought, there's this song that was playing the other day and the lyric was, "God, take all of me." And I feel like it could have been said better, "God, take all that I'm not. Take all that I'm not." And that's what we don't really want to let go of. Not because we don't trust, not because we don't hope, But because we don't know what to do sometimes without those core wounds, we don't know who we'd be without that morning anxiety. We don't know who we'd be without our pain, without our hang-ups. It's like, I don't know how I would cope. I don't know how I'd protect myself in the world. These kind of things. And that's why they can't be taken immediately. If sometimes if some of these coping mechanisms that are connected to our core wound were removed and healed and disinfect overnight, we might feel really naked and without an ability to cope in the world and protect ourselves. And so it can be a really slow process with disinfecting, with having those core wounds disinfected and the stitches healing, so that we can ease our way into being in the world without those core wounds being so loud. And we can kind of like feel our way forward. That's why these things don't happen overnight. And that's why that period of time where you feel stuck, you really do feel stuck, because it's almost like it's like a slow process of you starting to be the new version of you here and there, maybe for 10 minutes of the day. Maybe you have a conversation where it's been the same person over and over, but you just show up completely differently. You have a different ability to listen. You have a different ability to hold silence or speak when it's wise, and you never used to be able to be like that or be that mindful. And so you got kind of these like windows of time where that new version, that next, like that 2.0 version of you does come out in the day before you kind of go back into your experience of stuckness. And those little glimpses, hold on to those, because those are just evidence of the qualities that you're going to probably be carrying 24/7 at some point. And this last one I love. In order to get to the places most people don't get to, you have to do things most people won't and don't. In order to get to the places that most people don't get to, you've got to do the things that most people won't do. And deep down, we all know this. We all know this. And so whatever has led to an experience of being stuck with your core wound, once again, where it feels like it's on repeat, something has pushed you there. Something of the energy of transformation, something of your angels or spirit guides, something of the timing is just right. The timing is now for you to go through this crucible, through this portal. And it feels like a curse sometimes, but it is actually a blessing. Because people who are not working with those strong winds, those strong winds of spirit, are not experiencing these deep things, these deep disinfecting things. They will at some point in their development, but not now. You are in a place that you're mature enough that you're mature enough to align with these powerful divine forces of cleaning, of examining, of higher awareness of all the angles of the core wound, of sitting silently, your heart sitting silently with the stuckness that you might feel. And a lot of people are not able to work through that. A lot of people are not yet at the point where they would want to do something like that. And even if your small ego thinks, oh, I didn't want to do this, your soul on some level is like, yes, I do, and I'm ready. And nothing can stop me. Nothing can stop me, because I know that I'm going to places that most people won't. I'm going to places that most people just don't in life. And that requires doing things and experiencing things without running from them, without running into our addictions, without running into our distractions, without chasing all of the desires of our small ego, so that we don't have to experience the healing and the disinfecting of the core wound. These are things that most people won't and don't do. And that can lead to periods of isolation. It can lead to periods of hermit mode. It can lead to periods of loneliness and aloneness that can alternate. Sometimes you really need that isolation and space so that you can process what's going on and learn. And then other times it's too much. So most people won't and don't go through this with their awareness. They run away, they fall back asleep metaphorically, and that's totally okay because it's just not their time. But if you're watching this to this point in the video, it's probably your time in one way or another. And just know that you're going to places that most people won't and don't when you're doing this work consciously without running away. And what is really happening? Like, if you took a step back and you looked from a bird's eye view, what is really happening here? And if you could see with spirit eyes, one way of seeing it is, imagine a human being walking around with all of these kind of like translucent Lego pieces. That's the way that I see it anyways. Translucent structures that might be lodged into the heart center, lodged into other parts of us, that block other new things out, that block out our destiny or delay our destiny until the timing is right. And then all of this energy and this wind of spirit comes and says, I'm going to blow because this human, this person is ready. I'm going to blow on those structures and it's going to be so painful. And the person's going to want to keep the structures because they're comfortable. And the winds of spirit will still blow. And so it's us letting go of those translucent Lego structures that have been lodged in there for so long. It's us letting go of the past because we can't take it to where we're going in our destiny. It just can't come. So that's all I've got. Thank you so much for liking and commenting. Thank you for being here, and journey well.